never planned on joining the Air Force, but I don't regret it one bit because I've been able
Mm,
to accomplish a lot since I've
mm.
been in the Air Force. So you just gotta know what opportunities are out there for you and take advantage of it because it's out there for everybody to grab onto and take advantage of. So it's what you make it. It honestly is.
A lot of people don't know this, and I made mention to it on my channel before, and I don't know you if you know this, but officially, you were the first friend I met at Andrews that just happened to live above me, of all places. But yeah, of course, we met in the dorms. But again, I'm grateful for you coming on here. Definitely want to share your experiences with the masses. So you're from Illinois, correct?
Yes.
Did you live in the city in Illinois?
No, I was in the suburbs. So
Where, yeah,
yeah.
you strike me as a suburbs type individual. Um, but yeah, of course, going from suburbs to DC was an adjustment. How was that?
Not, I mean, it wasn't horrific. You're just adapting to another city life, and you know DC
Mm-hmm.
is fast paced, so you just take it with how it comes. I mean, it's not too far off where you got someone that's like never grew up in the city, and you throw them in the middle of DC, you're probably gonna be
Mm-hmm.
stressed because it's not like DC's just a walk in the park. You got a lot that's going on,
Yeah,
and you got to be able to like maneuver around, or else it's
yeah.
like fresh bait in the
It
big
took me a
city.
good minute. I mean, we lived in the dorms, literally the same distance from the highway. You were just one room above me,
Yeah.
and I could hear the highway every single night. And I would say for the first month or two, it took me a minute to unhear that. And I'm like, I never bought like a white noise machine or anything, but you're just getting used to walking out your door, and you can hear the city or you can hear the cars. It's definitely an adjustment. And of course, air shows, and you got F-16s every 2 minutes, four at a time, six at a time. I'm like, bro, y'all doing too much. It was a lot for me coming from a small military town to go to, a major city like that.
Yeah, and you know, like the whole airplanes, it's a lot. That's all. I mean, we're an air base, so that's all you
Mm.
hear is planes flying around you constantly. Where you know, like the army, you may just see all of their, you know, their vehicles driving all
Yeah.
around base. We don't got that on an Air Force base like that. So
Right.
that was like the only big adjustment. I mean, other than that, you know, it's 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 just like another city that you're
So
living in.
right. Talk about personnel and that experience as far as is that a job you wanted coming in?
It is personnel, as you know, you all know.
Dusty.
You'll learn in tech school,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, you know the champ personnel. So personnel is the job that I wanted. It was the only job I wanted, and I got it, thankfully, because you know there's people. I mean, stuff happens, so you can go in guaranteed, and then something happens, you got a waiver or something, and then you lose your job. All of a sudden, now you're going open. So I did take a risk, although some people told me not to go in open because I could be thrown
Mm-hmm.
anywhere I wanted. I
Right.
decided to take the risk anyway because I was like, why not? It can't be that bad. And that was just it. I still ended up lucky out of my flight to get personnel, and it's I wouldn't trade the job for anything because I like being able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things where it's like you sort of constantly know what's happening. You know, you're responsible for updating people's records, and you know certain processes that are in place to be able to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice, just like being in finance. You know certain aspects of finance from the military perspective that some personnel may not know, or vice versa. You know, it goes both
Mm-hmm.
ways.
Is there like a definite amount of like sections in personnel?
I wouldn't say it's definite. I mean, like when you're looking at each section, it's like you got customer service, you got force management, you got career development, and you got IPR. Between all those sections, there's different entities between them all that a technician would help you service with. So like CD
Mm.
is like one of the biggest sections. So you're always gonna have retirement separations, assignments, all that good stuff. So it's not to say like there's only a certain amount within each section because it's such a broad section
Mm.
that you just branch off. It's like a tree that just has extra, branches that each representative will take care of. So hope that answers your question.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Let's back up a little bit. How was your basic training experience?
DMT, I mean, it wasn't hard. It's easy. All you gotta do is just listen. You know,
Mm.
the drill instructors are there to not necessarily mess, like, they're trying to just prepare you for the organizational part of the Air Force. So it's not bad. I mean, you
Mm,
build a good team with folks that you meet in there. Some you may never communicate with, others you'll find your best friends there. So it depends on what you make it. I mean, you just got to keep a positive mindset and just
mm,
continue to push forward. So, yeah.
got you. What about tech school?
What about it? Like, how was it?
Yeah.
So tech school, I mean, it was good. I met my best friend in tech school, so it's just like those
Okay.
memories you hold on to. I mean, tech school wasn't hard. They called us Pop Tarts because we were in and out. We had the
Mhm.
shortest
Right.
amount of training that there is, but it like it's everything is going to be about what you make it. Like anything, I mean, you can be in the best location and think your job sucks, but
Right.
at the end of the day, it's all going to depend on you and what you see you can get out of it and take it to your next base and just being prosperous. So yeah.
Got you. What advice would you give a brand new personnelist getting to their first base, especially in regards to like learning the job itself?
Um, I would say take it one step at a time. There's guidances out there to help you. You got to be able to take the initiative because not everyone's gonna be able to teach you as in depth of your job. So,
Mm,
there is some good people that are able to take notes and like be able to train effectively. Everybody learns different, so you got to find your groove and just stay focused. Like, don't get defeated because it happens. But just once you're planted somewhere, grow. Know the process because there's always going to be someone, no matter what job you do, I feel like there's always going to be someone to tell you, like, they basically know your job better than you do.
mm,
But you just got to be able to know your job so that when an opportunity presents itself, you can be able to explain yourself confidently in that process and help them understand why you can or you cannot make an update. Here's the steps you got to take to be able to complete the actions. And, just if you need backup, go to your leadership for assistance because
mm.
that's what they're there for.
What would you say is the hardest part of personnel?
I don't know. Like, I don't think it's just hard. It's just how you manage certain things that are like dealt to you. Because
Mm,
whether you want to blame the customers or the process that's in place, you got to be able to adapt, because nothing's
right.
ever going to be the same the very next day. So you need to be able to see it for what it is, figure out how you can not necessarily change it, but change it in a way and make
Mm,
it for what make it work for what's best for you, especially if you're the person that's completing the steps and actions and that it can help everybody else. So I don't think it's really hard, being in DC. Yeah, being in DC once upon a time, which I'm sure
mm, yeah.
it's just really hard because you're in a very intense, high paced area, and
Right.
everyone's always going to have something to say about some process that needs to be improved. But it's just like you got to be able to explain the why, because I think that's what's going to matter at times. Sometimes it's not going to be worth an argument with some people going back and forth with. So just like figure out what works best for you and your team, and then just go from there.
Got you. You guys ever work weekends in personnel?
For sure.
For
Yeah.
real? The hell
Yeah.
y'all working weekends for?
I mean, it happens. It's just like with anything, A good thing is like deployments
Mm,
that comes. It's never you're never gonna have a deployment where you're just gonna be like, "Hey, we're only here Monday through Friday. That's when
right.
our work." It's like no, because anything can drop last minute, and when it's time for someone to go, you need to be ready to go, and so do they. So it's not like it's lack of preparation. If you do ever have to come in on the weekend, it's just there's gonna be some circumstances where it's going to be something hot that you may just be that swing where someone needs you to come in, or it's just like bottom line, you just got to come in. This has to get done. I'm not saying you guys spend your whole weekend here. If you do, you know, your time can always be given back. Not like once time goes past, you can't ever get that back. But hopefully, you have a good team that's like, okay, we saw you have to come in on the weekend. Take Monday as your down day. It's like give
Mm.
and take, just to be fair.
What would you say is the biggest reason why you made staff? What was it? Your studying habits, or like the way you study, your technique, or your EPR was amazing? What would you say is the biggest piece of you making staff?
That's a good question. I think it's just like I had goals to where I wanted to be. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just you to see visually where you want to take yourself. If you're a mental note taker, cool. But for
Hmm.
me, it helped me write out, hey, I signed up for 4 years. This is what I want to be able to accomplish in the next 4 years. And to make sure I held myself accountable, I would make sure I do it. And every time I completed something, mark it off so that I
Hmm.
know I wasn't getting distracted. And that's just what I did for staff. Like, I knew it was important for me to want to make it. Like, I felt like I had the experience because, sometimes you're thrown into roles where whether you think you're the most knowledgeable one or not, you're either
Hmm.
gonna sink or swim. And I chose to swim. So I was like, I'm going to learn this process. And I think that's what it helped me get to where I am now, just because like I felt like there were times where I was, itty bitty airman doing supervisory roles because
Hmm.
it wasn't, how sometimes you can lack more NCOs in a section than you
Hmm.
do airmen. Sometimes it outweighs. And, when you got people transitioning out, you just sort of got to step up. So I think that's what was like, okay, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready for this rank at least. So why not? And I just chose to focus on that and then study. And, I just had it in my head, like, hopefully, fingers crossed, I made it. I put in the time and the effort to try to get me to staff. So I couldn't do, it's not like I could really be mad at myself because I knew I had done what I needed to do to try to make it.
Hmm. Got you. Do you have any troops?
I did.
What advice would you give to a brand new staff sergeant or staff sergeant select?
I would say be ready to adapt and be open minded because not everyone is going to have the same characteristics as you, obviously.
Hmm.
You got to be able to take in consideration their personality along with yours. What are their stronger points? What are your weaker points? Like, how can you guys match? Like, and I knew that's something me and my team did before I PCS Andrews. We were all, I mean, not as bad thing being team girls, but it's a difference. So we were
Hmm.
like,
Right.
they knew I can be completely direct sometimes, and I know like there's sometimes you gotta not cater, but you gotta alter. You can't treat everyone not like the same, but
Hmm.
don't create a difference where it's like favoritism. So I was like, I
Got
know
you.
Airman so and so, this is how she likes to be addressed. If there's a problem, she just wants you to tell her up front. Where this airman may just be like, hey, I have to adjust it a little bit differently so it doesn't come off rude or anything like that. Like you have to be able to be conscious of your audience, how
Hmm.
and then just make sure you're not offending anyone in any way. So just be able to, you know, receive feedback and then just grow. Like, because each person will bring something different to the table and it will help you guys grow as a team. And just be open and transparent and communicate. Like, if there's something bothering me, and just be like, hey, I'm a stickler for time. I don't like how you're coming into work
Hmm.
at 8:31. If we're already coming in at 8:30. So it all depends, but you have to be able to like understand. Everybody has their own life, so just be able to be open and like critique when it's needed, but don't like be a you know
Got you.
stickler every time where they can't feel comfortable to come to you about certain things because that's not fun for anybody.
Got you. Just a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go. I know it's a little later on the East Coast, um, but I did want to ask you. So, do you plan on doing 20?
I would like to, yes.
Has there anything that's changed your mind or caused you to doubt that decision?
No, because I feel like no matter where I go, whether I'm in the Air Force or out there as a civilian, there's always going to be certain challenges I'm going to have to face to be able to like do my job. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to be what you make it. Not every place you go to is going to be easy, but you have to be able to just like address your concerns. And hopefully you have a team that listens to you and hears you out, because I think that's what's going to make it very important on those decisions, which is why, you see some people that get out after doing the
Mm-hmm.
listening, because you never know, it could be like the leadership they have. But I feel like at the end of the day, just like how they tell you, don't let your first duty station dictate whether
Right.
you're going to get in or stay out, because that can
Yeah.
really make or break a decision. It really can.
Facts.
But you got to be able to see it for what it is. And like I said, grow wherever you're planted. Like, not everywhere you're going to go is going to be easy. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a challenge, but accept it, because whether you're in the air, whether you're in the military or whether you choose to be a civilian, there's going to be obstacles you're going to have to face either way. You can't run from it all.
Mm-hmm.
So just handle it effectively, communicate effectively, and like just do the best you can, because that doesn't mean that's like your last, you know, stopping point. At least to me.
Got you. Thank you for coming on. I definitely appreciate your time, your insight, uh, your expertise in the personnel field. Thank you for coming on. Thank you.
You're welcome.